Hi guys, and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron, and welcome back to another live stream. It is of course Wednesday. I might start making this a thing now, the live streams on a Wednesday. Now I understand the live stream on Friday I had a few sort of technical issues. Now it was only our third live stream, this is only our fourth, so I would sort of expect some minor technical issues here and there. Let me just double check everything to make sure it's working. Okay, it still says that we aren't live publicly, but I know for a fact that we are certainly live. So let me just double check that the sound and everything is working correctly. Come on now, load yourself up. Set a reminder, I don't want to do that. Public view. Sync to preview player. I assume everything is working okay. If you are in the public live chat at the minute, let me just double check on my phone because the computer's saying that we're not live yet, so let me just double check that we are. Public view. Yes, we are in fact live, so everything is seeming okay at the minute. If you are in the live chat, then do drop a comment. Wanted to talk about something that has been quite quite relevant in recent times, and this is the whole situation around the top six and all this and all that. Basically this sort of theory that Sky Sports, BT Sport, BBC Sport, all of these big massive companies have around the top six, and why Everton are so publicly sort of not included in that. And even when we are in the top six in the Premier League, which we are now currently sitting sixth, we're still excluded from that sort of title of the top six. So we'll go in to talk about that as well. We'll also talk about the upcoming Merseyside derby. We'll talk about that briefly. Obviously, I'll have a full preview up for that on Friday, so don't forget to come back on Friday around about 7ish, 8ish PM. I'm not too sure exactly the time, but don't forget to come back and check that out. So basically, to start this video off, like I said, the top six, if you don't know about this situation, it's been going on for quite a while now. I should assume that a lot of you guys will know about it, but if you don't, I'll give you a little bit of context. So basically, the top six should literally be, by definition, the top six teams in the Premier League. However, according to the likes of Sky, BT, all these other sorts of massive companies, mostly Sky Sports, let's be honest, it's not the top six teams in the Premier League. It's actually Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, Tottenham and Chelsea. And the reason for that is because they are the six teams that make the most money for the Premier League. They are the six teams that bring in the most profit each year for the Premier League, and it's actually gone on record that ex-referees, ex-Premier League members of staff have come out and said the referees are told to make sure that these top six teams finish in them top six positions so that they bring in money in for the league, and that in itself is an absolute disgrace. We'll go on to talk about that in just a little bit. I don't know why me public view is saying that we're not live. Let me just double check that we in fact are live again. Just want to make sure so I can just basically be known to any audio issues or any issues that we may have. Yes, I do believe we are live. The streamer's got 1 like already, so thank you very much to whoever that is. I've got the live chat open so you guys can interact on the live chat if you'd wish. If you're watching this as a video, leave your comments in the comments section down below. So we'll crack on to it. Like I said, the top six is basically Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea and Tottenham, the six teams that make the most money for the Premier League each year. And I think that in itself, like I said, is a massive problem. But when other teams creep into that and start to, creep into a top six position and get, start playing good football and start threatening that top six, that's when these big companies sort of ignore it and they try and go around it. And Everton are the prime example of that. And look, I don't want to sit here and say Everton have been absolutely wonderful in the last 5 years, because we haven't. We're doing very well at the moment under Marco Silva. We're playing very well. But, in recent years under Koeman, Martinez's last season, even under Allardyce last year, we weren't fantastic. But there's been a running theme in the last sort of the few years, the seasons that we've played very well, even the season when we finished 5th under Roberto Martinez, his first season, a running theme that that we have been excluded from these run-ins. And I think the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I've seen a bit about it this week on Twitter, fans saying that apparently Sky Sports have come out and said something ridiculous, like, they've basically gone through the top 7, which Everton obviously sitting in 6th, Manchester United sitting in 7th, and they've gone through it all, and they've just not spoken about Everton at all, and they've gone straight to Manchester United. And it's been going on for quite a while, and like I said, I think when it first come to light, and people started to first get onto the fact that these companies and Sky and the likes were just ignoring Everton and ignoring the work that we're doing on the football pitch, I think it was frustrating. There was a lot of fans that were frustrated, certainly myself included. I was thinking, why are they doing this? Why are we just getting ignored? What is this? I think now it's more of a laughable case. We watch these things and we laugh at the fact that they're blatantly missing Everton out. We laugh at the fact that Manchester United apparently might finish in a Champions League spot, but Everton aren't even in the conversation. I haven't heard Everton in the Champions League mentioned once this season on any of the big television networks, but I've heard Manchester United and Champions League mentioned numerous times. Yet we are above them in the league, and we're going upwards, they're going downwards. But yeah, no, I think it has just become sort of a humanist thing. We look at it, we laugh, we think it's absolutely ridiculous, but it's a wider issue. It really is a wider issue. Like I said, this isn't just this season that we're sitting in 6th. This isn't just now that we're sort of getting ignored. Seasons before that, I remember Roberto Martinez's first season, like I mentioned just then, we're challenging for 4th place with Arsenal. We were challenging, and we were challenging well, to be honest with you. And we played Arsenal at home in a crunch game, really, which not decided the top 6 because it was still not towards the end of the season, if you like, but it, not decided the top 4, but certainly, given England, and the ball went into our court. We beat Arsenal 3-0 at Goodison Park. I remember Mikel Arteta scored an own goal, and there was all sorts of madness, uproars, and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, like I said, we beat Arsenal, we went to 4th, and the ball was in our court. We had some nice easy games. We either went on, won them, Arsenal would have gone on, dropped more points, and, we'd have finished 4th in that season and would have gone in the Champions League. Obviously, we know what happened in that season. We got beat to Crystal Palace. We didn't finish 4th anyway, but that's not the point. When we were in that 4th position, when we were, challenging, when we were beating Arsenal at home, it all of a sudden on Sky Sports News went to the top 3. This is the top 3. This is the 3 teams that are going to, challenge for the title. When Everton's sitting 6th, it's either the top 5 or the top 7, and we are ignored. It's only the top 7 now because Manchester United are 7th. It won't be the top 7 if we drop to 7th. It wouldn't be the top 7 if, I don't know, Manchester United were, say, doing a lot worse than they were or doing a lot better than they were, and it was somebody else, Bournemouth in the top. Wouldn't be that. It'd be, again, the top 5. It'd be to, absolutely uninclude Everton from everything. And like I said, it's become laughable to the point where, you're looking at it and you're thinking, it's really funny. It's petty how they go about it, but when you actually think about it and you see the substance behind it and you see the fact that it is because these 6 teams make the Premier League the most money, so they have to push that, then you think it's really unacceptable. It is. Look, I don't mind them pushing them teams and, they're being a little bit, listen, what I always say, if you're gonna try and, disclude someone, or you're gonna try and make an agenda against something, anything in the world, if you're a big, massive company and you're acting on fairness and the fairness of the league, and your referees are meant to be unbiased and it's meant to be equal for everyone, then don't blatantly show that you have an agenda against a certain football club. Don't blatantly show that you do not want this football club to succeed. We are sitting in 6th in the Premier League, and they're going through everyone except Everton and detailing, Liverpool won at the weekend, Chelsea won, Man United, whatever, and they're missing Everton out. There was a scenario a few weeks, about a month back, with Sky Sports where they showed the form table, and I think it was just after we'd beat Crystal Palace, I think, and we were 2nd in the form table, basically. Manchester United first, we were 2nd, and I think, Sky went through 1st to 7th and missed Everton out at 2nd. They said Manchester City 1st, Chelsea 3rd, Arsenal 4th, whatever it was, and they went through Chelsea, Arsenal, City, United, Liverpool, Spurs, and they just didn't include Everton. He just didn't bother speaking about Everton, and that's backed up by when they do talk about Everton, you've got absolutely idiots like Phil Thompson, absolutely clueless people like Paul Mason turning around saying, oh, Everton aren't going to do this. I watched an interview, and this isn't even Everton related. I watched an interview. It was actually on Sky Sports News. It was Paul Mason once Marco Silva took over a Hull, I believe it was, and he was basically ripping into him. Who is this guy? Why is he coming into the Premier League? Who do teams think what do they think they're going to get with him? Why not go for the traditional English manager? And I was just thinking, you are so clueless. It's absolutely unbelievable. These are the same people that were saying, what more do Everton want after sacking Sam Allardyce? What more do Everton want other than a top 8 finish, playing absolutely awful football, going to Goodison Park and literally sitting there for 89 minutes bored off your head and not excited to see Everton? What more do Everton want? Hang on, Paul Mason. We want to go and see nice, attractive, attacking, counter-attacking, fast football. We want to get up of a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning and think, I can't wait to watch the Blues today. I can't wait to go to Goodison. I can't wait to go out and watch the game. This is massively exciting. Oh my God, Everton are back. That's what we wanted. You've got the same idiots coming out saying Everton have ruined the transfer market with a £35 million signing of Richarlison. Richarlison, the lad who's now missed 3 games due to suspension and is still fighting for the top scorer in the Premier League already. This is a lad that's being called up to the Brazilian team. You've got players like Neymar, Champions League winners, World Cup finalists, saying, yeah, he's an absolutely, fantastic talent. He's not a World Cup finalist, sorry, Neymar, but you know what I mean, in and around that, saying he's a fantastic talent, he's going to be absolutely unbelievable, he's great. The Brazil manager saying, yeah, he's amazing, he's a top player. But apparently, little Paul Mason sitting in his Sky Sports studio says we've ruined the transfer market and he's a waste of money. They just don't know what they're talking about. And like I said, it's laughable now. You watch Sky Sports and you think it's laughable that they just don't include Everton, and there's a very clear agenda. But it's even more disgraceful that when they do speak about Everton and when they're asked about Everton, they blatantly put us down and chat absolute loads of rubbish, which, isn't true at all, just to try and make us seem worse than what we are, or make us not seem like a challenger to anything this season. And the thing that frustrates me the most, and like I said, I'm one of these Everton fans that I just watch the clips on Twitter. I don't watch Sky Sports, I'm not interested in it. If Everton aren't playing football, I won't watch. And I won't watch Sky Sports News, I'm not interested, because as far as I'm concerned, the majority of them on there, 80% of them just chat absolute shite about not just Everton, about football clubs in general. They're coming out with stuff like, how dare the smaller clubs, sit back for 90 minutes and try and get a point against the bigger clubs when they should, just be trying to play football. So what? A Burnley should go out to a Manchester City and try and play football and get beat 8-0, 6-0, 5-0, rather than sit back and maybe nick a draw. They just chat absolutely wham. And so I don't watch it, I don't get involved with all of that. So when I do see the clips on Twitter, I do just laugh and I do just think, you know what, that's funny, but I haven't seen a lot more sort of this week in the last couple of weeks, and seeing how the talk now is, can Manchester United still get top 4? Can Jose Mourinho still do it? Jose Mourinho saying he can do top 4, and I know this is an Everton channel and it's nothing about Manchester United at all, but on the flip side, if that's being spoken about, can Manchester United get top 4 on a downward spiral? Can Everton get top 4 when we're going that way? We're going up. You've got Marco Silva, who's instilled this fantastic football into our club. We're playing teams like Chelsea, one of the best teams in the league, off the park. But we're not being spoke about as challengers. We haven't even been mentioned for European football, the Europa League at all. We've just been cast aside for these other teams. And we're sitting in 6th. We are above Manchester United in the league. So why aren't we being spoke about in the same light? And like I said, it does frustrate me when you sit there and think about it. And that's why you do just have to laugh at the videos and laugh at the clips and, think, whatever, they just talk shite. But because if you sat there and you actually watched and you actually thought, hang on, this is true, then you will get generally frustrated because there's a clear agenda. And like I said, I might just seem like a bitter Everton fan here, rambling on about how things aren't the same for Everton and how it's different for other clubs. But I know Liverpool fans, diehard Liverpool fans, that have come to me and said, you know what, the agenda against Everton is a disgrace. And you mightn't believe that, but I've got a very good friend who's a Liverpool fan, and we were sitting having a pint in the pub once, and I said to him, it's absolutely unbelievable that, how out to get Everton that these big companies are, Sky, BT, all this, like I said, mostly Sky with their absolutely ridiculous pundits. And he said, no, you're right. And I thought he was being sarcastic. I turned around and said, do you not believe me? You're joking? He said, no, being 100% serious, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace how they seat Everton and now they just undermine Everton when, you're clearly playing good football. And this was a time when we still had Allardyce as manager. So this was a time when we weren't playing good football, but even he said it's a disgrace how they're seated and how the teams around you who are doing similar held in a much brighter light than you are. And that's exactly it. And that's exactly it with Manchester United this season. Look, I don't care if they finish 4th. I don't care if they finish 5th. I'm not bothered about Manchester United. But you cannot sit there and say Manchester United's nearest rivals at the minute, Everton. It's not Arsenal. Arsenal are playing some very good football under Unai Emery and they're doing very well. It's Everton. We're the team there that United should be thinking, right, we have to watch these because these are playing good football and they're winning games. We're not. But that will never be mentioned. Natty has just come on there and said 2-2. It's infuriating the way the press obsesses about United and their manager. In contrast, we get criticised for paying too much for Richarlison. Actually makes me sick. Exactly. Now look, when we signed Richarlison in the summer, he'd come off the back of a poor second half to the season at Watford. No one's going to deny that. The kid's absolutely unbelievable, and we know he's unbelievable because we've seen him, but no one's going to deny that he didn't have the greatest ends to... Oh, shit. My light has just fell on me there. Bear with me 2 seconds. Little bit... There you go. Speaking of technical difficulties, there you go. There's one. Let's just make sure everything's still as it is. Nearly attacked by me like there. That's what happens when you're live. These things happen. But yeah, like you said there, Richarlison didn't have the greatest end to the season last season with Watford. He really didn't. He wasn't on the ball like we know he can be. But it was never to ruin the transfer market. He signed for 35 million. A couple of days later, we seen Chelsea sign a keeper from Spain in that Kepa for 70 million, double the price, who had no experience in anything. Yeah, he's alright, but why hasn't he ruined the transfer market? We had other signings this season. Manchester United, 50 million on Fred. Why isn't that ruining the transfer market? Can't get anywhere near their team. Lukaku, 70 million the season before. Never a mention of ruining the transfer market, but we spend 35 million on a player that, has got great potential, a Brazilian really talented lad, and apparently we've ruined the transfer market. What is that about? It's an absolute disgrace, and I agreed. The agenda is very clear, and for me, it is laughable. You just have to sit there, because if you didn't laugh, you'd get angry and you'd cry, but you just have to sit there and go, you know what, this is an absolute joke. What are these people talking about? They don't know what they're talking about, but we shouldn't have to sit there. This is a professional company being paid billions of pounds a year to be, unbiased, to be, they're broadcasting the Premier League around the whole world, not to be, we're going to root for the top 6 and that's it. They're broadcasting the Premier League for everybody. They are meant to give equal opportunity to everybody, and they don't, and it's a disgrace. Your boy with the laughing face there. I don't actually know what quite happened there. I thought the light was, stood up perfectly. It's on a, one of them tripod stand things. It doesn't ever seem like it's going to fall over, but maybe I just had it a little bit too high. It's gone. It's attacked me, but that's what happens. Maybe the light is secretly working for Sky. You never know these days. Everything else seems to be working for Sky. Sky seems to be buying everything else in regards to football. So maybe they've jumped on, they've watched this stream, and they thought, can't be having them chatting wham there, so we're just going to attack them with a light. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. We're live. Anything can happen. But yeah, I totally agree, Natty. It's sick. It's sick, and it is, because we're just totally disregarded by these companies that are meant to provide unbiased opinions on football matches. These companies that broadcast, 5 or 6 Premier League matches a weekend. They're paying multi-billions of pounds to broadcast us. We're only ever on the television when we're playing one of the other teams. Why is that? Why are Man United on the television when they play, lesser teams in the league, but we aren't? It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Like I said, I could go on for a while talking about this, but if I did, I'd just get more frustrated and I'd, end up ripping into Sky a lot more, and I don't think we all want to see that. So I'm just going to double check that everything's working okay, that the stream is seeming okay after that situation, after that scenario, because, what happened there? Yeah, it seems to be working okay. Thank you very much if you are live in the stream, if you're here, if you're dropping a comment. Give me your opinion. What do you think? Natty's just giving his there. Give me your opinion. What do you think on the Sky Sports thing? And BT are in it as well, and BBC and everyone else. They disregard Everton because they know we are the clear threat to that top 6. And, I'm not being funny, but there's okay, let's not include Man United. There's the top 5 teams that we can admit we're probably not as good as. It kills me to say that about Liverpool, but at the minute, we can admit that. United, let's disregard them because I think we're better than United at the minute. Definitely do think we are. But every other team below us, we are much better than. We're heads tails better than, let's be honest. So, we are realistically the only threat to that top 6. You might have a Watford start the season well. You might have a Burnley start the season well like last season. You might have a freak season like Leicester. But in terms of them top 6 teams, like I mentioned, City, United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, we are the threat to that. We're the only team realistically that's going to break into that. And we've broke into it. We're 6th. We've broke into that. And that's what these companies don't want. And they don't want to admit that we are the threat to that, and they don't want to say, listen, Everton are doing well, this season. Everton could be in there. I can almost guarantee, I can sit here on this live stream now, you've heard me, it's 12 minutes past 7 on the 28th of November. I can almost guarantee the words Everton and Champions League will not be mentioned in the same sentence by anybody on Sky Sports or BT Sports between now and, sort of March time, unless we absolutely go balls to the wall and end up, smashing it out the park, beating Liverpool on Sunday, beating City, beating Tottenham, and we get into that top 4 to the point where you cannot ignore it. If we're pushing Manchester United, if we're pushing Arsenal, if, like that Martinez first season, we're in and around there with Arsenal, we still won't be mentioned in that fight for Champions League. We'll just be seen as somebody that is doing alright at the minute and, will fade off. And it's disgusting, but like I say, you just have to look and we have to understand that these people don't know what they're talking about and that they're just washed up ex-footballers, really. Natty says they do disregard us and they're only interested with making money. Our time will come now. Exactly, yeah. 100%. They are only interested in making money, and that's why, because them top 6 teams make them the most money with sponsorships, with pre-season tours, all that. Sky Sports had a breaking news segment the other day. Breaking news: Manchester United will play Leicester in Australia next pre-season. Who gives a shit? Seriously, Manchester United fans don't even care about that. We are in November. Yeah, we're 12 games. We're a third of the way through the Premier League season. 13 games, whatever we are. Why does anybody following this big, massive news outlet care who Manchester United are playing across the other side of the world in next season's pre-season game? That's not breaking news. By all means, report it. By all means, put it on your website. That is not breaking news. And like Natty's just said there, our time will come, and it definitely will. And that is the whole point of this team. The whole point of this team was why I think we shouldn't be worried about it and we shouldn't pay any attention to this. And I know I've sat here and I've got frustrated and I've paid attention and I've done what they want us to do, but we really shouldn't. I'm happy to be the underdog. I'm happy to go out every single game, Marco Silva's Blues, and beat the teams like Cardiff, beat the Leicester, Fulham, go to Stamford Bridge and play really well. Go to Old Trafford and come away with a result that really doesn't, do any justice. Come away with an awful refereeing decision. Go to Arsenal and come away with an awful refereeing decision. I'm happy to be under the radar, because at the end of the season, when these pundits are sitting down, they're reviewing the table, they're going, okay, City finished first, Liverpool, whatever. Oh, look at that. Everton finished 6th, or Everton finished 5th, or Everton, finished higher than Manchester United and really challenged Arsenal. Absolutely fine. Don't give us the limelight. I couldn't care. Let us go under the radar. Let us go unnoticed, and let us do exactly what we're doing. And I think Marco Silva thinks the exact same, and that is the right attitude to have. We shouldn't be worried about Sky or the coverage they have of Everton, or if they're ignoring us. Listen, it's funny because it's embarrassing, because they're sitting there saying, oh, let's look at the top 7 teams, blah, blah, blah. City, Liverpool, in 4th we've got Arsenal, in 5th we've got Arsenal, in 7th we've got Manchester United. That's embarrassing for them, and that's great for us, because we can say, listen, we're going under the radar. They know where we are, they know how well we're doing, but they don't want to say it. So fair enough, we can stay there. And at the end of the season, when we haven't had the pressure, and when we've built up the points, and we've played really well, and we've gone to Anfield on Sunday and hopefully got a result, then they'll be thinking, actually, they've done really well there. And that's what we want, and we shouldn't pay attention to this, because it really is just a bunch of people that are chatting nonsense every week on the television. Your boy says, I want to get 5th or 6th in the league just to show that we are not an average Premier League side. Exactly, and I firmly do believe we will, to be honest. Listen, the way Manchester United are going, I don't know a lot about Manchester United, but I understand that the board aren't willing to sack Mourinho because he brings in a lot of money. They're only going that way. We're only going that way. If that continues, if they've still got Jose Mourinho by early next year, we will finish above them. I'm going to say it now, we will finish above them. If they sack him in the next couple of weeks, months or so, then, you know, it's a different scenario. They've got January, they might have time to regenerate, and they have got genuinely good players, like Martial. He's absolutely class. But if they keep with Jose Mourinho and they don't change anything and they keep topping points against Crystal Palace, the likes, at home, then I do firmly believe we will finish above them. I do. And Arsenal are doing well this season, like I've just mentioned, but we can challenge them. It can be, you know, in sort of a similar situation to Martinez's first season. We can definitely challenge Arsenal. So I agree. I do think we'll get in around 5th, 6th. I think we will finish 7th at the worst, but I think we're more than capable of finishing definitely 6th above Manchester United. And if we keep our heads down and ignore all this nonsense about how we're being disregarded, and, you know, nonsense of, you know, not how we're being disregarded, nonsense of Sky Sports just not paying any attention to us, and we just think, you know what, that's brilliant, that sound, you carry on like that, and we just carry on, and we don't, you know, respond to nonsense like them, then we will put in a serious challenge to finish in the top 6 this season, and then we'll show these people, and they probably still won't admit it. They'll probably still be sitting here at the end of the season going, you know, well, Everton got lucky, it won't be the same next season, Richarlison's had a one-off season. Of course they'll do it, of course they will, but I don't care, because Marco Silva will have put Everton back in Europe, hopefully by the end of the season, if all goes well, and if it keeps going how it's going, then that will be the case, and that's all we should be worried about. So, well, 25 minutes in, I think that's going to do it for that topic. Like I said, a little bit of an emotional one. Thank you very much for getting involved, Natty and your boy. Leave your comments. If you're watching this as a video at the end of the stream, leave your comments in the comment section down below. What do you think about this situation? What do you think about Sky and BT disregarding us? And are you really bothered? Because for me, I don't think we should be, because, you know, whatever, let them do what they do, and once we finished in the top 5 or 6 this season, that's when they'll pay attention. So we'll just briefly talk about Sunday's game, obviously the Merseyside derby. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail, because we will have a full preview of that out on Friday for you guys to watch and enjoy. Just briefly, Marco Silva's come out obviously and said that we don't fear Liverpool, we don't have any fear, we don't fear any team. We will go at this exactly like we'll go at any other game, and, you know, we will look to win. And for me, that's what we have to do. We have to go out there, we have to play a very similar side to the sides that we've been playing. Lookman might come in, Walcott might come out, Bernard might come out, whatever. We have to play a very similar side. We have to go at them, and we have to attack, and we have to play them on the break. These are the team that are going to want the ball. This isn't a team that are going to let us have the ball. This is a team that are going to want the ball, and that's where we are best in letting them have that, and then counter-attacking them, hitting them on the break. And let's see what Richarlison can do, and let's let him prove. Not that he's already proved the likes of Mason wrong, but let's see him do it in a big derby game where they can't really ignore it. So, like I said, I am really excited for the derby. I'm nervous, don't get me wrong, I'm nervous for every Merseyside derby, but I am really excited, because I do think that we can get something out of this game. Not saying that we're going to go there and get 3 points. They are a good team, although it kills me to admit it. They are a good team, and they have been doing well this season. They have, we have to admit that. But I think overall, in the grand scheme of things, we can go and we can disrupt them more than any other team has done this season, and we can perform at a derby. Anything can happen at the end of the day. Like I said, I've seen Everton go out and miss 4 chances in the last 10 minutes last year at Goodison Park and not win the game. So anything can happen, and I think if we go with the right formation, the right tactics, which Marco Silva will do, I think we can get something out of this game. And I mentioned it briefly on Monday's review to the Cardiff City game. I think it's about the manager. Now, we've had derbies before where we've had really good teams play really poor Liverpool teams, and we've been beaten. We've had really poor Everton teams play really good Liverpool teams, and you know, we've come away with a draw, or we've dominated the game. I think it's about the manager now and how the manager sets up, and it will be really interesting to see that on Sunday. Obviously, like I said, we'll have the preview out to that on Friday for you. We'll also have Marco Silva's press conference on Friday, where we can see, hopefully, everybody's fit. I do assume everybody's fit, but be interesting to see some of the news and how he speaks about the game as well then. So just a couple of bits of transfer news just while we're here, just before we go. Everton have been linked with Gabigol. I believe his full name is Gabriel Barbosa. He is a Brazilian striker. He's currently on loan at Santos, FC Santos, from Inter Milan. He basically lit up the Brazilian league for Santos. Went to Inter Milan, didn't quite do it at there, went back on loan at Santos, and has now finished the season, because the Brazilian season has finished. Top goal scorer with 18 goals, I believe he has. I tweeted out earlier, if you don't follow us on Twitter, it's definitely worth a shot. I tweeted out all the latest information about Everton and the news as well. Somebody attached to FC Santos, somebody that claims to be the future president. I don't know, how viable that is, but definitely somebody attached to FC Santos. There's pictures of him with the squad. He's verified, and somebody attached with the player himself, has quoted that it's possible that Gabriel will make that move to Everton in January. Obviously, like I said, didn't light it up in Inter Milan, so they will be looking to sell. The Brazilian season has finished now, so he's come back. We've also had a couple of other little bits of transfer news. Let me just get the name of the lad up so I don't butcher it. There is a lad playing for Lyon, I believe it was, who we are linked with, a midfielder. Let me just get that up because I do not want to butcher that. Bear with me 2 seconds. It's Tanguy Ndombele. So he's a Lyon midfielder. Yeah, I believe he's a very, very good player, very, very good midfielder. Plays in a similar role to Idrissa Gana Gueye. Very good midfielder. We are linked with him. There's other teams linked with him as well. I dare say this transfer news will, sort of fester on itself in the coming weeks, obviously, as we get closer to January. But that's just a couple for you there. Antonee Robinson, Everton left-back, currently on loan at Wigan, has undergone ankle surgery for an ankle injury. He will be out until February. Paul Cook, the Wigan manager, has stated that he'll be out for 10 weeks, so best of luck on your recovery for him. And yeah, I think that'll just about do for this team. I'll just read out Natty's comment before we go. They won't play 5-5-0, so there will be more space for us to move the ball around. Must take our chances. Exactly. They will give us space. They will give us opportunities. We have created opportunities against Chelsea, United, Arsenal. We've created these opportunities, and like you've said, 100% they're spot on. We need to take our chances. We've seen it in the Arsenal game. Calvert-Lewin having a chance in the first 10 minutes. Theo Walker's having a chance. It's vital that we take our chances. We can't not take our chances in this game. It's a Merseyside derby. Every sniff at goal we get, we need to make sure the ball ends up in the back of the net, and I think that Marcus Silva will be doing that into the players on Sunday. So thank you very much for watching. If you have watched live, thank you very much. Cheers to Natty and your boy for getting involved in this team. Massive, massive, massive thanks to you two. If anybody else that was watching this team, massive thank you to you as well. If you're watching this as a YouTube video afterwards, don't forget to leave your comments about everything we've spoken about today. The Sky Sports situation, or the BT Sport, the media situation on the top six, obviously the upcoming Premier League fixture between Everton, Liverpool and Anfield, the Merseyside derby, and the transfer news as well. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Like I said, follow us on Twitter. You can't see my hat on screen, I don't believe. It is just Mighty Blues YT on Twitter. We recently hit 100 followers, so thank you very much for that. Yeah, like I said, subscribe if you're new, like the video if you have enjoyed. Thank you very much for another successful stream. I'll be streaming again next Wednesday, maybe next Monday. We'll see how the Merseyside derby goes, but thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you guys soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers.